Have I ever told you about the shoe incident at school?
Someone nicked your shoe and chucked it in the thing, and then you beat the crap out of them or something.
No, that's a different story. But yeah, you're right.
Okay, get done with that shoe.
It cropped up this week because I was thinking. I was listening to. I was thinking about Sam's Jazz Odyssey.
Yes.
And how trumpets are a problem for me. And sort of that is like probably one of the major barriers to jazz for me is the trumpet.
Well, it's brass. Brass is a thing, and it's obnoxious. Brass players are obnoxious as well. Brass is very difficult to play. That's what it is. And when it's played well, it's awesome. When it's a brass band, it isn't. Let's just say that.
I really like brass bands up north. And the old coal mining villages.
Well, the famous film, and they're brassed off.
Yeah. Famous?
Well, all right, infamous film.
No, the shoes. So, I mean, this is sort of where it came out, and I was trying to track where my dislike of trumpets come from. And for some reason, I remembered we were in year 3. We were in the same class.
Yes, yeah, what we would now call year 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9. And we had music lessons. It was so interesting when we mentioned this. I'll get to that. 1 hour a week music lessons, and the good music teacher had left. So my brother, I've got this typical, isn't it? My brother, who's 2.5 years older than me, had a bloody ninja violin player, and we went to the church in the town to see the school orchestra play Brandenburg Concerto No. 4 because the teacher could do all the English stuff. And then when we got there, we had some sergeant major guy who was in the army who played the trumpet in a brass band.
Yeah,
typical, isn't it? Just
sergeant major. That's what we called him.
So what are we going to say about him? They can't.
Yeah, actually no. Year 3. I was on about real year 3, middle school.
Right. So what is now year 7?
No, year 7. Yeah. Is that right?
Mr. Cowwood, Mr. Fretwell, Mrs. No.
Mr. Hume.
Oh, year 5.
Year 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mrs. Butler. Was it Mrs. Butler? Mr. Hume, anyway.
Anyway, yeah. You'll all know. You'll all remember, no doubt.
You remember him?
Yeah. Anyway. So they told. I mean, first school was particularly lax when it went to uniform. I remember going to first school just wearing whatever I fancied, like trainers, tracksuit, whatever. I'm not sure I was supposed to, but they never gave me a hard time if I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, when we got to middle school, they gave us a bit of a lecture on you must have your uniform, and the idea of getting an actual uniform with an actual tie was quite novel to me. Yeah. I didn't quite know how to deal with it, and sort of like one morning, I couldn't find my school shoes. Yeah, and they said if you don't come in your school shoes, I'm sure people have been told off for wearing trainers.
Yeah,
and they said, look, if you don't come in your school shoes, you're going to be sent home to get your trainers. Yeah, so I'm looking all over the house for these bloody school shoes, and I cannot find them anywhere. And I was like one of those. Do you call them latchkey kids?
Right. Yeah.
I'm getting myself ready for school. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no one sort of getting me ready. What was I then? 9 years old. So yeah, I'm 9 years old at this point. So I'm looking for. I can't find them anywhere, and I'm like, oh God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I can't wear my trainers. They'll send me home. So 9-year-old logic, thinking, well, I don't want to go into school and get shouted at and then sent home. I'll just cut out the middleman. Just stay home.
Because you can't find your shoes.
Because I can't find my shoes. Yeah.
That's a punishment, really, is it? I will send you home.
Well, you send it home to get your shoes on, sort of thing, and then maybe you get your mum and dad involved and all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, so there I decide. I mean, it's way too late to go to school. I couldn't find my shoes, so I've sort of decided that's it. I'll stay home. I'm sort of like 9 o'clock ticks over, and I'm like, what am I going to do? So I think, what am I going to do? So, you think about watching telly, it turns out daytime telly's crap, so you start messing around. Anyway, part way through the day, I actually stumble across my shoes, yeah? So I think, I could have gone to school after all. Anyway, so this kind of creates a bit of a problem in my mind. I can't say to my parents, I didn't go to school today because I haven't got my shoes, when my shoes are there. Yeah. So, and also I'll get in trouble. You know, I was one of those kids who always went to school. I very rarely took any time off. Like, you just go. So I wasn't used to having time off school. So what do you do in that scenario, sort of thing? 9 years old, thinking about it. You know, I've got my shoes. I can't tell mum and dad I'll get in trouble. I can't go back to school because if you go to school, you've got to go with a note to explain while you're off. Yeah. Sort of thing. I couldn't get a note off my mum and dad. So, I mean, having a day off without permission is even worse than going to school without any shoes, sort of thing. So I'm like,
bamboozled into that situation.
I'm sort of like, oh no, what do I do? So at 9 years old, I have decided that I'm never going to school ever again. I'm not going to tell my mum and dad.
Yeah, just stay at home.
I'm just going to stay at home. I'm going to teach myself, and then maybe I'll sort of slip. Well, I'm not really thinking what's going to happen in the future.
Sneak into the exams.
I'm going to sneak into the exams or something like that.
Well, you probably would. I mean, not everybody, but in truth, had you sat home and taught yourself, you would probably have got very good GCSEs. But you wouldn't have gained the social whatever. But
well, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I did a lot of my own teaching. I was never interested in what schools teach me. I was always interested in what I wanted to learn. Yeah, that was my my main issues at school. Anyway, so there I am. At 9 years old, decided I'm never going to school again, and this lasted for about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh my God!
I didn't go to school for 2 weeks.
You missed a huge class.
Yeah.
So I don't remember, but you must have been off for 2 weeks.
I was off for 2 weeks, and so what does a 9-year-old do? Never going to school again. Decided he was going to teach himself. Well, you read the book of Revelations, obviously.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
It's interesting. So you know. And obviously what happens in the book of Revelations is the angel blows his trumpet and brings down all sorts of nastiness on mankind. So I sort of get it in my head at that point. I don't really like trumpets because that signifies the end of the world. Chances are things are going to go really, really bad.
Comes, it'll be a brass band.
And do you know what the really cool thing about that was?
What?
When I actually found out, I mean, it got to, I think, school phoned home or phoned my parents at work to find out what was going on, because obviously it's been 2 weeks, a long time. That's a serious illness, that is, 2 weeks. Yeah. You know, and they were like, oh, he hasn't been going to school. They're actually really nice about it, my mum and dad.
They're more confused.
And I explained, well, I couldn't find my shoes, Mum. And sort of, when you think about it, what I've kind of done is I exposed the complete lunacy of the system.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
People wearing shoes is more important than kids going to school, sort of thing. So when I got to school, Mr. Hume took me aside and goes, well, Sam, in the future, if you can't find your shoes, it's not a problem. Just come in your trainers.
Did you just bring good trainers from there?
Well, no. And I kind of, I mean, it must, honestly, I mean, what can they say in that point of view? You know, the rules have made it sort of, I'm obviously taking the rules seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You've been scared into staying
home, and it worked. So yeah, I actually don't think that's the root of my trumpet issues. I just think it sounds shit, but
it's funny though.
It is funny.
I've always been very, very cynical about the school uniform thing. There's some argument for it, but it's a bit like Brexit, isn't it? You know, both sides of the argument. I don't mean one or the other. I mean both sides. All the arguments were excuses. There was no good argument on either side, really. And people, I'm sure, everyone's zealous about that, aren't they? But we're not. And you know, if it was sensible clothes, that would be a better argument. It's not. No. Oh, yes, it is. No, it isn't. A blazer is not. It's too hot in the summer and too cold in the winter. How is that sensible? What does a tie actually do? It strangles you. That's literally all it does. It should be, if it's compulsory clothes, it should be really sensible trainers, comfortable, that are suitable for all weather. You know, a coat instead of a bloody blazer. You know, it's all about tradition, and it's all about it's an excuse.
Well, I think it's a bit more than that. I think it's actually about conformity and
learning about conformity. Yeah,
yeah, it's conforming to the norms of society, because these are ridiculous clothes that we wear. Yeah, that is the norm that is expected for people to wear on a smart occasion.
And 50 years ago, it was.
It was highlighted sort of between David Cameron and Jeremy Corbyn, when David Cameron essentially made the point that Jeremy Corbyn was a ridiculous figure because David Cameron's mother wouldn't have approved of the fact that he didn't wear a tie.